We are here with Ann Vanderhoof, who's the author of The Spice Necklace, and before that, An Embarrassment of Mangoes. Ann is living out everybody's middle-age dream. She has left her life in Toronto with her husband to sail in the Caribbean. This is your second time, Ann. You didn't just do it once.
No, we did it once, came back, and the minute we were back here, we thought, oh, let's start plotting and planning to do it again.
And what do you miss in your life of Toronto?
Well, I jokingly say my dishwasher, although Steve, my husband, fills that role quite admirably. But you know what? I have loved just having a chance to explore work with new ingredients, new styles of cooking, to live outdoors almost all the time.
And you have brought with you some of those new ingredients. Could you tell us about some of them?
I sure could. This is cinnamon bark, and it's from Grenada, where they call cinnamon. This is actually a species known as cassia. They call it spice. Cinnamon is the ultimate spice for them, so they just call it spice. And the trees are harvested once a year, the bark's cut off, and then it begins to curl naturally, and then the women who sell it just roll it a bit more to form the large sticks.
It's a lot bigger than what we normally see
here. It is indeed.
Can you get similar cinnamon here in Toronto?
You know, I have never seen the big sticks. I've seen West Indian cinnamon, cassia, in some of the Caribbean grocery stores, but not of this size.
And this, I've never seen that before.
These are tonka beans, and these I can tell you won't find here because they're not legal for import.
Not legal?
No, because it's a tonka bean. It has I think someone put their finger on it. It smells like marzipan. It's a cross between vanilla and almond, and if you were to eat a whole bowl of them, they'd be toxic, but you know, the West Indian women just take half a bean, grate it into cake batter, and infuses it with this wonderful almondy, vanilla, even a hint of peach, I think, flavor. And you can buy them in Europe.
You know, well, I do love marzipan. I might be tempted to eat a whole bowl. And this is nutmeg, but not
these are nutmegs
as we know it.
With mace around them. So the nutmeg tree produces two spices in one. The nutmeg's the shell underneath, and the mace is this lovely kind of corset over top. When it's fresh off the tree, it's bright red, and then as it dries, it dims down, and it's peeled off with the fingers, easily comes off, and then it's ground into the spice mace.
Now these peppers look more familiar.
These are the killers. These are the scorchers that are known varyingly, all in the same family: Scotch bonnet, Congo, habanero. And these are a pretender that you will get in the West Indian markets. And then I did buy these in Toronto, called a seasoning pepper, sometimes called a flavor pepper, because that's exactly what it does. It adds hardly any heat, but it adds a lot of flavor.
Piquant. And this is
turmeric, which in the Caribbean it's called saffron. And the reason it's called saffron is that when it's dried and ground, you put it in, it adds that familiar yellow-orange saffron color to everything. But it's sometimes used fresh. You can see a bright color, and it's much more pungent in this form.
There's one thing that really struck me in reading your book, Ann, and that is the generosity of the people you've met along the way. From everything from inviting you into their homes for food and showing you how to make the food, to giving you parts for your boat, and somebody offered you a rare pearl.
Yes, a pearl from a conch shell. I didn't know that conchs made pearls, and they're very rare. And of course that was a gift we declined. That was too precious to be given away. But we're constantly amazed. We'll be walking down the road, we'll start up a conversation with a stranger, as we did recently in Grenada, and the next thing you know, she has insisted we stop at her house so that she can cut us a bunch of callaloo from her garden so that we have that to cook on board. And she can send us away with a little bouquet of an herb called Santa Maria for making tea because it's good for us. So this kind of openness and friendliness is just, you know, constantly amazes me and inspires me too.
It's really heart-stopping because there are people who don't have very much, and yet they're so very willing to give it to someone else.
That is so true, and that is exactly what we feel every time it happens. You know, these people may not be well off, but if their tree is full of mangoes and it's mango season, by all means, a stranger should have a bag of them.
Now, at the end of your new book, The Spice Necklace, you sort of leave us up in the air. You've been told that people who are sailing for 3 years maybe don't make it back to land, and you're sort of wavering. What's happened since the end of the book?
Well, yes, there's a term in the cruising community called clods, cruisers living on dirt, and we're trying to avoid becoming full-time clods, because the person who said that, and I think he put the time as 3 years, and then it's too hard to come back. It's right. You just become so used to this very different life. We're keeping a foot in both camps. We come back to Toronto now for part of the year and live on the boat for part of the year. And by coming back and catching up with family and friends and work and business, it enables us to go away and still have the West Indian side as well on the boat.
Well, thank you for sharing a part of your dream with us.
Thank you for having me.